are your most important project? And I wanted to talk about that today because I think for many people who are in either an established career or have got to the point where they're really satisfied with where they are, they can forget to make themselves matter the most, particularly if you're in a role where you're managing people, which can be hugely all-consuming in your day. I find that people can get themselves stuck into a pattern of coming in each day and knowing that there's so much they've got to get done off their to-do list. And then, of course, there's the things that are unplanned. And so they end up going along to get along. And what I mean by that is they can be high performing and doing really, really well in their role, but not necessarily making the investment in themselves that they need to make sure that they're setting themselves up for success down the track. So when we think about where we want to be in, say, 1 to 2 or 5 years' time, if I'm not the person who's making myself my most important project, there'll probably be some consequences for me later. And what I mean by that is you might miss out on the role because you haven't had the opportunity to do the right networking. Perhaps there's some health things that you might have been able to focus on. There's just things that can get missed. So it's not always appropriate, but if you're at the point right now where there's something in your life that you want to be a bit different or there's something that you want to change, I'd love you to think about the concept of making yourself my most important project. I want to share with you a few ideas of things that you can do to start really getting a plan around yourself, but I'm going to give you this thought first. When you make a project and you decide, you may even be given a brief that there's a project actually, the first thing we do is we sit down and we work out the project scope. We set deadlines, we think about what experts we might need to consult with. We get a really clear vision of what success would look like. We'll set milestones in there. We'll do a bit of risk assessment. You know, what are the things that might go wrong or might sabotage me or the project to really getting where it sort of needs to get to. And so if you are your most important project, I suggest that you sit down and make some time. You might do this with a coach or with a mentor or a trusted advisor. And there might be some work and thinking that you need to do for yourself, but get really clear about what are my timeframes? What is it that I'm wanting to achieve? Who else do I need to involve and communicate my plan with? What are the goals? How am I going to get there? What are the opportunities that I can identify? And what else is it that I should be thinking about? And of course, we know that with all projects, things can change and go wrong. So it's really important that you adapt as you're going on. So once we've worked out how we're going to make ourselves our project, we need to remember that, you know, in my experience as a success coach, there really isn't anyone who has been an overnight success. It's up to you to manage the project and invest in you. And I have never met anyone who has regretted investing some time in themselves. So once we've done some thinking about that, what are the top things to think about as part of your plan? So I always recommend with clients that they do a bit of a life audit. You know, so what do I know is working in my life really well, and perhaps what are the things that aren't? What are the dreams, ambitions, strategies that I've maybe let go of? So there's a couple of key categories here to think about. So have a look at your financial situation where you are right now, because that can impact things like whether you want to do some study, how tied in you're feeling to the role that you're in at the moment, the level of freedom that you might feel that you have. Also do a bit of an audit on what's happening with your health. You know, how's your energy? We know that we sleep better when we're exercising and we've got better energy. Is there a particular hobby or some things on weekends that you'd like to be doing that would also be really good for your mindset? Also take time then to think about the significant relationships in your life. So what are the relationships that are working? Are there some that actually need some attention from you? Remember here that we're thinking about you as a project. So for you to be successful, you probably need your primary relationships to be working. Then get really specific about the career stuff because it's an important element. How is my career doing? You know, have I just been getting the tap on the shoulder? Have I been proactively investing in the right relationships? Do I know what success even means for me anymore? And the last thing, that I think is really important is to do a bit of a lifestyle check. Are you having enough fun? Are you getting to do the things that you really want to do? So once you've decided at this time, it's right for me to make and think of myself as a project, do that audit, start thinking about what success would look like for you, and get really conscious about the changes that you want to make, because otherwise all of a sudden we wake up, it's 5 years later and we're in the same spot.